Hi guys, my name is Lauren Wasselson and I will be presenting and talking to you guys about computer ethics within the workforce today. So in order for us to relate these unethical messages to you, we decided to come up with an unethical situation that might occur while using computers, and this privacy violation that was conducted was while using a terminal, an employee breaks the security code and reviews confidential company salaries of corporate executives. No use is made of the information. However, when caught, the employee says, "I was just curious." Now, as we can see from the case that was presented, this was a very unethical matter that had taken place. There are many different fallouts that had occurred throughout the whole situation, and the first one that is picked out at the beginning of the case was that the employee had used a terminal to break the code in order to access the things that he wanted to see within the computer. This is a very non-ethical case because there are strict laws in place to prevent this situation. We wouldn't want anyone breaking in and looking at your salary if they didn't have permission to see it. Thinking personally on our level, we wouldn't want anyone looking at our grades and breaking in without our permission. It kind of puts us at an awkward place when other people are seeing what they're not supposed to be seen. The second fallout that took place within the situation was that the employee reviews confidential salaries of corporate executives, however, does not act upon it. Now, this can go both of two ways, with this situation being unethical and also ethical. So the unethical point of view was within the employee's actions. He reviewed confidential salaries that was not meant to be seen. However, his motive is considered to be ethical in a way. He did not act upon it in any way in order for this to do damage or result in any hurtful situation that had concurred. So this is ultimately considered ethical by the motive, but altogether by his action, it was considered to be unethical. The third ethical fallout that was conducted within this case was when the employee was questioned. He had stated that he was just curious as to why he had broken into the system. This was ultimately considered unethical because his excuse of being just curious was not a valid excuse for looking at something confidential. Ultimately, breaking an ethical code of confidentiality can lead to many harsh consequences that can affect many different things. So as I just mentioned in the last slide, due to all these unethical actions that had been taken place by the employees, it will lead to numerous different consequences that can take place. So the first one is that the employee could be fired from the business at hand. Obviously, the employee relations are affected, and ultimately this causes damage to the company's credibility. When one knows that confidentiality is at risk, the word will get around and it looks bad within the company and their surroundings. So altogether, a lack of ethics appears because of poor planning and faults elsewhere in the business. This is why the credibility goes increasingly down when unethical matters happen. I brought this case to your attention in order to show the many unethical problems within the business world that could take place on a day-to-day basis. Although this might seem a bit extreme, this ultimately caught my attention because it shows how much ethics are needed within the workforce and by all employees. We need to know how to handle certain situations, and it is important to have high ethical standards within the world of business on a day-to-day basis in order for a company to run smoothly.